Now, back to that breaking news, which we learnt as we went on air. The First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, has announced she will seek approval for a second independence referendum. We can now talk to the SNP's Europe spokesman at Westminster, Stephen Gethins. Stephen, welcome back to the Daily Politics.
Thank you.
Why did she make the announcement today?
Well, I think it's important that people in Scotland are given a choice, and given that Article 50 looks increasingly likely that it's going to be triggered, I think that people of Scotland need to know what their options are, and they need to be able to make a choice of two futures. Isn't it increasingly isolationist future with the United Kingdom, or is it securing our relationship with our partners in Europe?
Right, but she hasn't triggered Article 50. In fact, it's still being debated in the Commons and will go back to the Lords probably later this evening. So Isn't this all rather presumptive?
Well, wait a minute. We've had several months. We're about 9 months on from the European referendum. We're also several months on from when the Scottish Government came forward with a compromise document. And in that time, the Prime Minister has rejected the single market, which could cause, the loss of tens of thousands of Scottish jobs, and has rejected the customs union. And we're looking at an increasingly hard Tory Brexit. So I think it's right that the First Minister is taking the opportunity to set out the options that the people of Scotland now have.
Right, but I mean, the negotiations haven't even started. You don't know whether there is going to be necessarily a hard Tory Brexit, as you call it, and a deal has not yet been put either to either parts of Parliament. So having already, I think we can show it, having already a website running, Indy2 website by the SNP, all looks and smacks a bit like you've had this long prepared, and this is the sort of moment you've been waiting for, the excuse you've been waiting for to launch the process for a referendum. Otherwise, why have you got a website all ready to go?
Well, it doesn't take all that long to build a website, Joe. Secondly,
how long did it take you?
We've had 9 months from the 23rd of June referendum. Now, during those months, we're seeing a huge amount of uncertainty for business. We're seeing a huge amount of uncertainty for universities. We've seen the only substantial piece of work to come from a government is the Scottish Government's compromise, which has been undermined by the UK government. So it is right that the First Minister sets out the options that the people of Scotland now have.
What evidence have you got that a majority of people in Scotland would vote for independence?
Well, look, we've seen the most recent opinion polls that show that it's about 50-50 at the moment.
One poll has said that, but yes, you're right. One poll has said 50-50.
You've had the average of about 3 polls over the past couple of weeks. Secondly, we're also in a situation, if you bear in mind the independence referendum previously when it started off at 27%. But look, if you put opinion polls to one side, we're in a situation where the people of Scotland voted overwhelmingly to remain part of the European Union. They're now being taken out against their will. That could cost, according to the Fraser-Valdor Institute, tens of thousands of jobs. The Scottish Government has a responsibility to do everything in its power to protect those jobs, protect our economy and protect our relationship with Europe.
Right. Although in the manifesto, I seem to remember it was done on the basis, a promise of a second independence referendum, if there were terms that weren't in the interests of Scotland and if there was overwhelming support for that second referendum. But there isn't overwhelming support, is there, at the moment?
Well, wait a minute. The manifesto says that there could be another independence referendum in the circumstances that Scotland was taken out of the European Union against its will. And the SNP was re-elected with an increased vote on that manifesto. They have the mandate. That's something that's been recognised by other parties as well. So on that basis, they take it forward. And look, you're right. It is now for us to go in and make these arguments. But we're now in a situation whereby we have a choice, and the people of Scotland have a choice between a hard Tory Brexit or protecting jobs by maintaining our relationship with our European partners.
Right. We have a government response, which I have here in front of me. I won't read the whole thing because it's quite long. But it says only a little over 2 years ago, people in Scotland voted decisively to remain part of our United Kingdom in a referendum which the Scottish Government defined as a once-in-a-generation vote. The evidence clearly shows that a majority of people in Scotland do not want a second independence referendum. Another referendum would be divisive and cause huge economic uncertainty at the worst possible time, presumably indicating that you want it to happen in the autumn of 2018 when negotiations will still be going on for Brexit. But do you accept that you did say it would be a once-in-a-generation vote last time?
Well, wait a minute, that's why you stand on a manifesto, and the Chancellor's in all sorts of difficulties at the moment for failing to live up to the Tory party's manifesto commitments. You put something in a manifesto and people vote on it. So the SNP was voted on its 2016 manifesto commitment that was very explicit. Governments rise and fall in terms of their manifesto commitments. This is something that we're finding out after yet another catastrophic budget over the past few days here at Westminster. So they were very clear about what was in the manifesto. The people of Scotland had a choice, and the SNP were re-elected on the basis of that manifesto commitment.
When would you ideally like the second independence referendum to be, Stephen?
Well, the First Minister set out a timetable of between autumn 2018 and spring 2019, and I think that makes a lot of sense, because by that stage we'll have a lot more information about what Brexit means. We're not hopeful about what it means, and others aren't hopeful about what it means. But I think that gives the people the opportunity to make a more informed choice.
Stephen Gethins, thank you very much.
Thank you.